Toxin Origins. As the 1000th offspring of a lineage of powerful symbiotes like Venom and Carnage, Toxin is destined for greatness. Toxin is undoubtedly one of the strongest symbiotes, but with great power also comes great responsibility, and Toxin discovered the balance between the two on several occasions. Long before Venom was regarded as the lethal protector, Toxin had forged the path of heroic greatness and instantly became a beloved anti-hero. This Carnage spawn has inherited the best of its clan, including an all-powerful curse that is feared by both Venom and Carnage. Let's explore the obscure origins of Toxin. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. The tragic origin of Toxin. Generational trauma is not just limited to the human species, and Toxin has undoubtedly endured the worst of it. It is believed that there is a significant connection between reality-altering events that may affect the existence of symbiotes and the birth of new symbiotes. Carnage was impregnated at the same time as the events of Avengers Disassembled. The first offspring of Carnage is the 1000th offspring of Venom's race, and is destined to be overwhelmingly powerful, surpassing the strengths of Venom and Carnage, as symbiotes get stronger with each passing generation. This prophecy instilled a sense of fear and disgust in Carnage. Fueled with rage and aversion towards his unborn offspring, Carnage decided to kill it right after its birth. Toxin makes his debut in Venom vs. Carnage #1, as Venom battles with Carnage in order to protect his bloodline, while Carnage attempts to destroy it. During the battle, Venom chooses Patrick Mulligan's body as the perfect host for Venom's unwanted offspring. Spider-Man comes to the rescue when Patrick Mulligan's pregnant wife is thrown down a stairwell, while the Black Cat intervenes and saves Patrick from Carnage right before it tries to pull apart his ribcage. Venom names his grandchild after itself, Toxin, and keeps an eye on Patrick Mulligan, since Carnage failed to kill the symbiote due to the weakness derived from giving birth. It plans on returning to remove any chances of this offspring growing to be stronger than it and defeating it in the future. However, when Carnage finally came after Mulligan, Toxin protected its host by fighting its parent symbiote. Since Toxin was still an infant and could not survive without a host, Patrick nurtured him with guidance that would control his insatiable bloodlust and rage. Spider-Man helped him in the process of finding a balance between Toxin's urges and Patrick's sense of civic duty. Later, Toxin was attacked by its parent, Carnage, and its grandparent, Venom. When Venom realized that the symbiote was not walking on the same path as its predecessors and would most likely turn into a hero, Toxin defeated the deadly duo with the help of Spider-Man and Black Cat. Patrick Mulligan decides to leave his wife Gina and his newly born son in order to protect them from a life of bloodshed and chaos. He leaves his job as a police officer and starts channeling his energy towards serving the community with the help of this alien spawn living in this body. Marvelous story arc of Toxin. After making his debut in 2004 with the first issue of Venom vs. Carnage, this lesser-known anti-hero finds his time to shine when his character is explored in his own limited series Toxin. First came Venom, then came Carnage, and now comes Toxin. A mass breakout from the Raft prison at Rikers Island endangered Patrick Mulligan's city, with the threat of escaped convicts breathing the same air as the innocent citizens of New York. The masked superheroes joined the endeavors of hunting down each of them and locking them away, along with the regular police force. Patrick Mulligan had chosen a different path to deliver justice. He walked out on the regular police force to serve his city with the help of his parasitic partner, Toxin. Patrick begins his search by negotiating with the bestial Mr. Hyde at Rikers to obtain information about King Cobra. Adamantly tries to unearth the location of the repulsive criminal, and Patrick tries to get any relevant clues from Mr. Hyde, but later makes a discovery about the symbiote inhabiting his body. Toxin, the symbiote, feels his spidey sense tingle near a scrape of King Cobra's snakeskin. The duo discovers Toxin's ability to detect the exact location of King Cobra by touching the snakeskin. With his animalistic instincts kicking in, Toxin follows the scent and finds himself right outside King Cobra's door. King Cobra is knocked down with a punch, but manages to immediately recover from it and attack Toxin with a deadly snake-like grip, almost choking the life out of him. Toxin grows in size and, for the first time, introduces the symbiotic duo as Toxin. The next morning, King Cobra is found tied into a knot outside a police precinct. Spider-Man makes the immediate connection between Patrick Mulligan and Toxin's crime-fighting rendezvous and approaches Pat for his help in tracking down Razor Fist, a remorseless supervillain. Spider-Man hands him a bandage soaked in blood to aid him in tracking his whereabouts. I Need You, Toxin. During his hunt for Razorfist, the duo makes a stop at a convenience store to stop a robbery, but Toxin takes over the driver's seat and causes a ruckus which destroys the store, tears down half of the block, and almost kills one of the two robbers. Patrick confronts Toxin's impulsive urges and destructive nature. Mulligan realizes that despite being the host, it is getting harder for him to prevent Toxin from killing. After locating Razorfist, Toxin refuses to change into his symbiote form and leaves Patrick fighting for his life under the attack of a villain with blades in place of arms. Toxin decides to pull a prank and turns Patrick into a harmless middle-aged man who is named Larry. Dodging the attacks of Razorfist, Patrick finally screams, "I need you, Toxin," right before Razorfist attempts to slice him. Hearing exactly what he wanted to hear, Toxin makes a grand entrance. However, Razorfist manages to escape the confrontation. Questioning the answer. The pain of being estranged from his family haunts Pat, and the carnage spawns incalculable hunger for blood, creates tension between the two. With a sense of despair and loss, Pat gives in to Toxin's influence and later experiences a surge of guilt derived from the mayhem they had caused together. While washing away the blood and bones of an alleyway murderer, Patrick accepts that he had every intention of tearing him apart limb from limb and putting him through indescribable pain. Toxin suggests that there might be an answer to their cohabiting problems. Pat confronts the supervillain known as the Answer. In a quest for answers, he shares his dilemma with the villain, who advises him to end his life. Patrick Mulligan jumps in front of a moving train to escape this nightmarish burden. The comic ends on a cliffhanger, leaving the readers wondering if he survived or not. It is revealed later that Toxin takes over Pat's body to save him from being splattered with blood and broken bones by the moving train. Together, the symbiote and the host realize that Toxin's existence is dependent on Patrick's life, since he is still a young symbiote with a lot left to learn. Soon after being saved from himself, Patrick allows Toxin to take over and help him beat Wrecker and Piledriver. Pat discovers a taste for this morally gray area of justice, while Toxin enjoys a newfound sense of freedom, where he is not held back by the legal and moral constraints of being a police officer. Introducing Larry. The little Larry prank helped Pat weave a plan that could allow him to see his family and work harmoniously with the childish little alien devil in him. In the next issue, the arrangement between the strange duo is divulged. For 2 hours every day, Pat gets to shapeshift into a harmless, nice man known as Larry and spend time with his wife and child. In return, Toxin gets 2 hours of playtime every night, but under certain strict conditions. Toxin is not allowed to commit heinous crimes, or their arrangements will be considered null and void. The childish naivety of this Toxin symbiote is endearing, and the dynamic between the two resembles that of an elder brother and his younger, impulsive sibling. Toxin asks Patrick to put his faith in him after an unfortunate incident. Patrick wakes up amongst 28 brutally knifed bodies and blames himself and the symbiote for the bloodshed. Mulligan is convinced of having blood on his hands, despite Toxin's firm ground claiming his innocence. Soon, Spider-Man realizes that Razorfist is behind this gruesome massacre. The comic ends with Razorfist murdering Chief Meadows and Patrick Mulligan's father to execute his revenge against Toxin. Retribution, not revenge. The crime-fighting symbiote's hero arc is explored in Toxin's final issue. With Spider-Man by his side, Patrick avenges his father's death. Spider-Man is strictly instructed to arrest Patrick and put him in Rikers if Toxin takes over and kills anyone else, despite their combined urges to make him bleed and pay for his sins. To his surprise, Patrick maintains his composure and control over Toxin while confronting Razorfist and does not kill him despite Razorfist's attempt to manipulate him. Patrick Mulligan's strong moral compass was finally able to guide the impulsive and uninhibited symbiote. With a new sense of control over the symbiote, Patrick decides to come clean and share his truth with his estranged wife Gina. The comic panel concludes with a scream, implying that Patrick transformed in front of his wife into the devil you know. The death of Patrick Mulligan. After years of sharing a healthy and endearing bond maintained by the balance between the Clintar alien and an ex-cop, the Toxin symbiote was removed from Patrick Mulligan by the son of Mephisto. The incarnation of evil known as Blackheart beat Pat Mulligan to death in a gutter and later stole the symbiote. He hid the essence of the symbiote in a secret lab in a casino located in Las Vegas. Venom allied with Jack-O-Lantern to steal it back for his boss, the Crime Master. However, the Crime Master had other intentions. He forced Eddie Brock to bond with the Toxin symbiote. This marks the beginning of a conflict between the grandparent symbiote Venom and its own grand offspring, the Toxin symbiote. The amalgamation. Eddie and Toxin survive a deadly blast and healed from their injuries. Eddie was then arrested by the FBI, and Toxin was forcibly extracted from his body. Brock was made a member of the FBI symbiote task force as Agent Toxin, while the symbiote was subdued under the influence of symbiote inhibitor drugs. With the magical blessing of the god Chthon, Carnage used his powers to create a new symbiote, where Jubulali Van Scotter. Another Carnage spawn known as Rays was merged with Jubulali's symbiote as well as the Toxin symbiote to create a trifecta to defeat Carnage and Chthon. After the death of Chthon, the newly amalgamated symbiote disseminated, supposedly ending the lives of all three symbiotes. Bonding with Bren Waters. After surviving yet another near-death experience, the Toxin symbiote was declared too weak to be saved by Null, the primordial god of darkness. Null did not consider Toxin worth being rescued from an inevitable end. While escaping the Chthonic island, Toxin managed to bond with a teenager named Bren Waters. After regaining some strength, the duo fought with a brood, or a human hybrid, which was created by unethical experiments at Alchemax, which is the legacy of the Osborne name, following which they were attacked by a guardsman. They escaped the fight and bickered their way home when they discovered that Bren's father was the guardsman that Toxin had fought with earlier. Unlike most parasitic symbiotes, the Toxin symbiote shows genuine regard for its host, Bren Waters, and exhibits mutual cooperation and understanding between the two. Drawing parallels from the first host, a newly born and naive symbiote who was guided by Patrick Mulligan as an elder sibling, it is indeed a full circle moment to see Bren Waters, a teenage boy, bond with an experienced and significantly more mature symbiote. The Trinity. In order to protect Bren's father from an attack on the Alchemax Tower in Manhattan, Bren and Toxin transformed and head there, during which Toxin's mind is taken over by its parent symbiote Carnage, who is reaching out to its offspring through the symbiote hive mind, hoping to corrupt its mind. With this family reunion, Toxin fights back in the Void to protect its host and manages to take control of the Void by attacking Carnage. In the Void, Toxin senses the presence of Andy Benton, who is bonded to the Silent symbiote. Toxin meets Flash Thompson, better known as Anti-Venom, and together with Silence, the trio decides to defeat Carnage. In the final battle, Toxin fought Lasher and explained that Toxin would not cause murder and mayhem under the influence of Carnage. The Trinity defeats and captures the rest of the Life Foundation symbiotes, excluding Agony, who escaped the battle alongside Carnage. In the end, Toxin and Bren stay with Andy and Flash, expecting Carnage to make a return. What makes Toxin a powerful symbiote? Thanks to its legendary bloodline, Toxin has inherited a wide range of powers. Being a Carnage spawn, Toxin has wall-crawling and shape-shifting abilities, along with the ability to produce organic webs without a limit, which is similar to the organic web-slinger Spider-Man. Its web-like substance can take the shape of thick red and blue tendrils, which resemble the chains of the Ghost Rider. What sets Toxin apart from the rest of the clan is his heightened tolerance towards sonic waves and intense heat. Toxin's ability to track creatures is not limited to symbiotes. It can detect the location of anyone simply by a hint of their scent. Toxin is a master of deception, with the ability to shapeshift and mimic the form of anything or a person. It easily camouflages with its surroundings and adapts just as quickly. When the symbiote is bonded to Patrick Mulligan, it appears rather slender, almost similar to Spider-Man. However, when it is enraged, it grows much larger in size, with vicious fangs and long claws. After bonding with Eddie Brock, Toxin donned a red giant look, but soon after recovering from being burned, it turned red and black. However, after being recruited by the FBI, the Toxin symbiote gained the look of black and red body armor. At present, after being bonded to Bren Waters, Toxin wears a combination of both Patrick and Eddie's forms. The symbiote's superhuman strength allows it to grow larger in size depending on its mood. As it extends its legs, Toxin can leap across large distances. Like its predecessors, Toxin has powers such as superhuman speed, stamina, agility, and superior reflexes, as well as durability, which makes it extremely resilient to several types of physical damage and injury. The symbiote can exercise its limited psychic ability to gain insights from its host and others with a mere touch. Additionally, Toxin extrasensory ability, also known as Spider Sense, is more efficient than that of Eddie Brock and better at narrowing down the location of the threat. Due to the shared history between Spider-Man, Carnage, and Venom, Toxin has inherited the immunity to Spider-Man's Spider Sense and thus offers him a formidable opponent. Much like its predecessors, Toxin can produce appendages from his body, morph his body parts into dangerous and sharp weapons, and even manifest wings when needed to fly. The symbiote's fangs are not just for show, but to deliver poisonous bites that do justice to its venomous name. It has exceptional healing abilities and regenerative powers capable of undoing illnesses whose cures are not known to humankind. With great inheritance comes the bane of shared weaknesses as well. Toxin is weakened by fire, high-pitched sounds, and most importantly, symbiote inhibitor drugs. Patrick Mulligan and the Toxin symbiote form a strange, never-seen-before combination, not only for their heroic adventures together, but also because although Toxin is dependent on its host, the two of them do not fuse together and act as separate entities in one body. This can be seen when the two converse with each other without having to change their forms. Another significant feature is that when Toxin's eyes turn transparent, Patrick's eyes are visible underneath them, which quite beautifully captures the dynamic between the two. Some interesting facts about Toxin. Despite being the lesser-known anti-hero of its clan, the Toxin symbiote has a relatively new but large and devoted fandom among Marvel Comics readers. According to recent speculations, Toxin's host, played by Stephen Graham, is likely to make a return in Venom 3 to explore the storyline of Toxin. But before that, let us learn more about this ravenous character. Toxin almost joined the New Avengers. Toxin's emergence took place at the same time as the events of Avengers Disassembled, which led to the disbanding of the original Avengers. When Electro staged a massive breakout by shutting down the supervillain prison known as the Raft, the formation of the New Avengers was catalyzed to save the day. The team consisted of Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Luke Cage, Wolverine, and Spider-Woman. The New Avengers were helped by Toxin in tracking down supervillains like King Cobra and Wrecker, using his ability to track anyone by simply picking up their scent. Toxin was almost sent to the Raft during the initial breakout. However, the story took a different turn and steered him away from being a founding member of the New Avengers. A member of the Savage Six, the Save Six was founded by the Crime Master to execute his grudge against Agent Venom. The team included Jack-O-Lantern, Toxin, Death Adder, Megatack, the Human Fly, and the Crime Master himself. The team was successful in attacking Agent Venom, but was met with a brutal end when Agent Venom butchered them one by one, starting with tearing off the Human Fly's wings and snapping Death Adder's neck. The spawning. Toxin attempted to kill its grandparent, the Venom symbiote, for sustenance, in order to prepare for a mysterious event known as the spawning. However, the spawning never took place, and is considered to be a discarded plot. Readers suspected to be an exploration of the early history of the symbiotes, or the birth of a new symbiote channeled through the 1000th offspring of the Venom bloodline, which leaves room for future surprises in the MCU as well. The death of Eddie and Toxin. When Toxin was bonded to Eddie, Agent Venom brutally ripped Eddie from Toxin in order to separate the two and attacked Toxin with one of Jack-O-Lantern's pumpkin bombs, desiring to end the symbiote in the blast. Before the bomb exploded, Toxin managed to pull Eddie back, to merge with itself and supposedly die together. The extended family. Toxin's blood relations go beyond Venom and Carnage. Venom was forcibly made to spawn Scream, Phage, Agony, Lasher, and Riot by the Life Foundation. Other than the Carnage symbiote, Venom naturally gave birth to another symbiote known as the Sleeper, while Carnage, Toxin's parent, created a techno-organic symbiote known as Scorn. He also spawned Toxin's sibling Raze. Toxin's family comes from the genetic lineage of a race created by Null, the Eldritch god of darkness. The Toxin symbiote's bloodline seems to be never-ending, even though Toxin never had an offspring of his own. Toxin appearing in other forms of media. Films. Toxin's original host, Patrick Mulligan, makes his first appearance in the live-action Sony Spider-Man universe film Venom: Let There Be Carnage. Patrick Mulligan is played by Stephen Graham and is a detective for the San Francisco Police Department, unlike the comic book's namesake, who is an NYPD cop. In the film, Patrick tries to investigate serial killer Cletus Cassidy with the help of Eddie Brock, but finds himself in a deadly battle between the symbiotes of Eddie and Cletus, aka Venom and Carnage. Mulligan gets killed by Francis Barrison, aka Shriek, during the fight. It is later revealed that Mulligan had absorbed a piece of one of the symbiotes and is revived by it. This amalgamation makes his eyes appear blue. This variant of Patrick Mulligan is different from the comics, but teases an exploration of the character in the upcoming Venom films. Video games. Patrick Mulligan's Toxin is featured in Marvel's tactical card game, Marvel War of Heroes. In LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2, an incarnation of the Toxin symbiote known as Carnum makes an appearance as a playable character. Both Patrick Mulligan and Eddie Brock's incarnations of the Toxin symbiote appeared as playable characters in Spider-Man Unlimited. However, the game was discontinued in 2019. The 2015 mobile video game Marvel Future Fight features a playable character of Bren Waters' Toxin incarnation. Marvelous Verdict. With an exceptional heritage, an array of superpowers, and a variety of hosts ranging from the righteous Patrick Mulligan to the adolescent Brent Waters, the Toxin symbiote started out as a naive symbiote spawn and has gained popularity and experience over the last decade. Since the debut of Patrick Mulligan in Sony's Venom Let There Be Carnage, fans have been stirred for the exploration of Toxin's story in Venom 3. Despite the minor differences made in this variation of the character, we are enthralled to see what the MCU has in store for the 1000th symbiote spawn of the Clintar race.
And if you like our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.